When you think of cities, you probably think of something like this, or this, or this. But what happens when suddenly there are more people than city? Suddenly you need more space, more houses, more businesses, more industries. In comes urban expansion to save the day. Urban expansion refers to the growth of a city or urban area into its surroundings, previously rural or undeveloped land. It's a phenomenon that has been occurring for centuries and continues to shape our cities and communities today. When done right, it can have a lot of advantages. It can increase job opportunities, expand industries and businesses, and bring in new residents, which all comes together to bring a lot of economic development.
So cities expand, and as they expand, they accommodate more industries which bring in more jobs. And these jobs bring in more residents that use public infrastructure and pay taxes, which are then used to upgrade the infrastructure and further expand the city, which creates a cycle of expansion. But the more a city expands, the worse it is for the environment around it, which means a loss of biodiversity. Pair that with the excess strain on local resources when a city expands, and you have a one way ticket to the land of environmental degradation.
And of course, it has a social impact too. Expanding cities are seen as hubs for investments. And as rich, affluent investors buy up houses in developing cities and move there, the cost of living slowly goes up and up until the lower income residents are pushed out of the area. Now, when you need more space, you can either expand vertically, adding floors on top of buildings, or you can go out horizontally, taking over surrounding area and integrating into the city. Cities like Toronto, Mexico City, Delhi, Atlanta, and even Sao Paulo in Brazil have chosen to take the outwards path, all of them taking over agricultural land, forests, villages, and suburbs, and integrating them as parts of the city. Let's look at Florida, a state in the US known for its inflated real estate market, insane looking suburbs, and its dignified men. Florida has four of the 10 most unsafe metropolitan areas for pedestrians in the entire United States. Huge suburbs in Florida also make infrastructure inaccessible via foot, and all residents must have a car. This not only increases the cost of living, but also contributes to a rising greenhouse burden on an already environmentally struggling state like Florida.
Other cities like New York City, Shanghai, and Tokyo chose to go a different route. They're all famous for their high rise buildings and skyscrapers, making efficient use of the empty airspace above them. But it's important to note that these places, despite their unbelievable skylines, are often too expensive or economically inefficient to be built in a developing country. Skyscrapers in Dubai exemplify this problem. To reduce labor costs for building these towers, they employed cheap labor from developing and underdeveloped countries like India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, presenting a whole lot of human rights issues. But in terms of a more environmental approach, this approach to building a city takes care of any outward expansion. Less area for development needs to be sanctioned, and also infrastructure and facilities are accessible. Urban expansion has other negative impacts too. Take Shenzhen, for example. As the city expanded and grew, it ended up encroaching on local wildlife habitats, disrupting ecosystems and leading to a loss in biodiversity. As its industries grow, industrial discharge pollutes the air, water, and land surrounding the city. The city is also extremely reliant on fossil fuels, increasing its contribution to climate change.
Despite the polarity that exists between China and the USA, both of these industrialized countries have near unwalkable cities. Comparing Houston and Shenzhen, one would see undeniable similarities, except you might spot a McDonald's or two more on Houston roads. The large list of issues that come with rapid outward urban expansion is catastrophic for our planet. In conclusion, after this little trip around the world looking at different cities and understanding urban expansion, we can come to the conclusion that maybe sacrificing nature, arable land, good air, and tons of habitats to make some subpar suburbs and a few Walmarts is not worth it.